And here we go again. And now we wait. Well, at least you are, Gene. I think it sometimes takes a minute for the people to catch up, especially when I just start up the live stream abruptly like I did this one. Usually what happens is, I put the little, I schedule my live streams. And so there's like a little placeholder that's available before I actually press the start button. And that allows you guys to talk to each other. And so you're already here when I press the button. But even then, it takes sometimes a minute before people start chiming in, because I think when I press the start button, it starts feeding you an ad, and then you watch the ad, and then the video kicks in. I mean, at least that's how I think it works. I don't watch a whole lot of other live streams. When Jordan does a live stream, he just abruptly starts it like I just did on the second one here. He doesn't say, put a placeholder up and say, yeah, we're gonna have a live stream in 30 minutes or whatever. It's just, here I am. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, it's funny. I saw the chat continuing because I saw some of you talking to each other, and several of you were saying, that you were buffering or that I completely frozen. I don't know. Did you see my comment? Because I posted a comment and said, I was going to reset the modem. And look who's bad. Look who's back. And look who's bad. Well, and it makes sense that the comments will be going through, because the comments are between YouTube, YouTube's website, and you guys who are watching. My problem was between me and YouTube. in my ability to broadcast. So, since YouTube is the host, it does kind of make sense that even if I'm having troubles broadcasting, that you'd still be able to talk to each other. Okay, that's good that I can at least communicate like that if I'm frozen. Let you know what's going on. That usually just means I got to reset the modem, and maybe that's just got to be part of the routine in the morning before I start the live stream. Is that we go in there and reset the modem. So once we start going, because usually once you reset the modem, it's pretty good, unless it's something with the internet company itself. No, the new system isn't involved in this in any way, except that it's broadcasting Matt's Island Horizon videos. Yeah, that's exactly what that is, Jordan. Welcome to the party. I've told this story about this guy before. In fact, I think you've seen this guy because this guy's been on my couch for many, many years. Uh, Someone that I knew at work way back in the days before I was even Warner Brothers, when I was at the first company that I worked at that made CDs, made me this. And she knew I was into space, so she bought some space themed fabrics, got planets and stars and stuff like that on it. He's got Saturn on his face, and she made that into me. For at the time, the little white dots all glowed in the dark, so you could light them up. I don't think it works anymore. It's probably burned out, but yeah, he's been on all my live streams for since the beginning, basically. Well, the young one is my dad. Here, let's pull up the picture. I'll let you see the full thing here. Hang on, let me get the photo. There. Yeah, basically got every live stream photo I've ever used. Okay, let's do our cutaway here. And this is the photo that we're talking about here. This is my cover photo. This is it's my dad and his parents. So my dad and my grandparents. Obviously, when my dad was very, very young, uh, but clearly at my grandmother, my mom's house, because that's her organ in the back there. I definitely remember that place. I spent a lot of time there. But yeah, that is my dad and my grandparents. Those are the grandparents of mine who are opera singers. So yeah, that's my grandparents. Grandma was a carrot top. I like to think he looks like me, Gene. Yeah, I did. Here, I'll show you what I got, John. Hang on. I think I showed it the week after I went, but I saw something. I talked about it because when I was at the Comic Con, because I kept going back to the place over and over again because I was really intrigued by this artwork stuff that this person was making. because this isn't like mass produced stuff. Every one of these is unique. But yeah, I got that at the Comic Con. I liked him too because he kind of glows in the dark. So I thought that was really cool. Like I said, I kept going back to that. I always bring well, not always, but I do now. I bring a UV flashlight with me because sometimes some of the things they sell there are kind of fun. Actually, let's see if we can get the bear to glow here. Yeah, I guess he does still a little bit. Yeah, not for long, but he does. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It's supposed to be like a plant or a mushroom or something like that, but the person put eyes on it and made it look like an alien. That seemed to be their specialty. There was a lot of stuff at that, and in fact, it was the artist that was there that was selling them. And so every time somebody bought one, she asked if it was all right if the buyer posed with the individual piece. And so, yeah, I know I like the eyes. This was actually the second one that I was looking at. There was one I was actually kind of more intrigued with and I was going to get, but somebody else bought it right before me. So yeah, they call them mushrooms. So yeah, I think yeah, these look like a succulent, and those are all just fake. They're plastic, but it's got like little cut glass on the surface of the base, and then this thing with this thing with the elaborate paint job in the eyes and the glow in the dark stuff. Yeah, he's pretty cool. I like him. I put him in the black light section with the UV reactive lights, UV reactive rocks, because he looks fantastic in there. So yeah, we'll put him back here for now. He can stare at you and give you the evil eye. Looks like Matt has footage of a turtle on the beach. You see a lot of their turtles. They come ashore and they sun themselves on the beach. I remember when I went there a couple times that I saw we saw turtles all the time. Yeah, I've heard that that sea turtles will go back to the same place that they were born. That doesn't seem to be the case here because the turtles I've seen, including the one on the video behind me there, that one's just sleeping. He or she is sunning him or herself. He may end up being a Halloween decoration. He may end up in the yard somewhere for Halloween. I wouldn't want to leave him out there because he's kind of fragile. You look at this, you think it's heavy, but it's actually just kind of, I don't know what it's made of. It almost feels like it's maybe somebody went to like Michael's or something like that and bought one of those styrofoam balls and then put all this stuff around it. I don't know. I'd have to take him apart, and I don't want to do that. He's too cool for that. But that's what it kind of feels like. Because that would be kind of creepy in the yard too, right? Have to put him someplace where you get hit by the black light. So like people can see how really cool he is. I'd have to find some sort of way to cover up the wooden base so to make it look like, it's just literally something that's growing out of the ground. Tends to not look real if you can see that it's on a wooden base. Well, he'd be in an area where I don't usually let people walk. Because usually what I do is I have all the graves and all the ghouls and monsters and stuff like that right up against the street, so it's on the grass right by the curb, so they can walk up to the curb and take a look. So I could put him among the graveyards, and that would look really kind of cool. That's a good idea. He may end up being part of the Halloween show. Oh, more than iridescent, he's UV reactive. Kind of like that thing. That thing's pretty cool too. Look at that. That's just a piece of fluorite that somebody desecrated by turning into a sphere. I don't know. I don't usually like the shaped rocks, but I do have a lot of spheres like that. They're kind of cool. Well, probably put them like between one of the tombstones, so it just looks like some weird plant that's growing there. We'll call it an Audrey 2. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to carry one that was much heavier than this one, though. I think this thing weighs like 25 pounds. It's about half the size of a bowling ball. Can you imagine how cool of a bowling ball it would be to have one made out of fluorite? I don't know. Like I said, this thing weighs twice what a bowling ball is, and probably is only about half the size. That's far and away the largest sphere I have. That's far and away the largest sphere I have. I would love to have a bowling ball that made out of fluorite, but like I said, I probably wouldn't be able to use it. To get it to the size of a bowling ball, it'd probably weigh about 75 pounds. Oh, you like the mushroom guy? Yeah, he's cool too. Let's see. Let's get him looking right here at you. There we go. That's better. It's funny, I got the mushroom alien and the mushroom incense burner right next to each other. Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of room for stuff in there. I'm planning on putting four fruit trees in there. It might be a peach tree. I'm thinking orange, lemon. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what's there. It's got to be stuff that I like. If I can find a money tree, I'll definitely plant one of those there. That whole area though is going to be really really nice. And then we'll have a whole bunch of like little stuff around the ground. Might even be different themes in different quadrants. That's true. I have actually seen them do to make UV reactive or black light reactive bowling balls, and those are really great at black light bowling alleys. That would be very cool. I like bowling, but I've never actually owned a bowling ball. I got one. I do actually own one that was a white elephant gift that I received many years ago, but I've never been bowling with it. Oh, there's going to be a very elaborate lighting system. In fact, that infinity mirror right there is my first time experimenting with what is it they call hub space? I think is what it's called. Where because I can control that thing with my cell phone. Here, I'll show you. Watch the infinity mirror in the back here. I got to turn. Hang on, I got to turn on the app here. There it is. I think it's called hub space. Yeah, there it is. It's just a little app that comes with it that you can download that allows you to control it. And okay, all right, I am in control of the infinity mirror. Let's just make it turn a solid red color. And see, I did that. And the advantage is now let's turn it blue. And so I can control this on my phone. I can control the brightness. See, I just brought it way down in brightness. Down some more. I got different colors I can play with. And there's different like themes that you can do here. Let me show you here. Let's see. Because you can go with different like themes. That was let's see. This one's called mistletoe, and so you got red and green in there, and there's one for Hanukkah. I don't know. That one's called Penguin Disco. But the neat thing about this is that you can program it from anywhere. I've actually controlled that thing from the Rock and Mineral Shop, which is miles from here. So, if I wanted to, I could, if I want to just turn on the lights, I can do that. And since it's all tied to this app and I can get it all to act kind of together, I can like do colored themes out there and all that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that I definitely want to experiment. Like I said, the the um, the infinity mirror light is definitely was my first attempt experimenting with that and had some good results. So we'll definitely probably be using that. I don't do it as much as I'd like to. As a matter of it's interesting though because uh, one of the things that's happening, I told you we have this maintenance interval coming up in about a month at work. And one of the things that the boss wants to do is have a meeting with all the management staff. And we're actually going to take, it's actually going to take place at a place called Main Event. And Main Event seems to have all sorts of like, it seems to be like a Chuck E. Cheese kind of place, but more geared towards adults. So there's like a bowling alley in there. There's laser tag and all sorts of stuff. So might get a chance to do some bowling here. I haven't been bowling in years though, but we used to have like bowling nights every once in a while at Disney, and they were fun. Yeah, I've seen that, Gene, and I think this one at the Main Event place here. I think that one is a black light bowling alley too. That would be a good reason to go back to Houston. The thing I wasn't really into about Houston when I was there, about a year ago, was the traffic. Holy cow! It was like being back in LA again. But it would be fun to go see a great rock and mineral show. You remember when I went to that Perot Museum up in Dallas? They had a pretty cool rock and mineral section, including a big giant amethyst that you could look at. That thing was probably 20 feet tall. It was gorgeous. It was in two halves too, so they put it on these big massive hinges, so you could open it up and look at it, or close it up and see what it looked like when it was, found. Yeah, I mean that's part of the reason I moved away from California and why I like Waco so much is it isn't a big city. The only time the traffic is bad is when the idiots decide that, yeah, we got to rebuild the freeway again. And there's another section of I-35 where they're going to be probably doing construction for the next 5 years. So that does sound great, Gene. Yeah, that's because you know what I how much I like UV reactive stuff. But yeah, that was sort of like the Perot Museum too. It was just kind of a dark room, and then just had spotlights on the rocks and minerals. And I kind of do that with my rocks and minerals a little bit too. It's not so obvious now when we're in live stream lighting mode, but sometimes at night, I'll just turn off the lights and only the have the lights in the rocks and mineral case to light up things. And yeah, yeah, it's really cool. Definitely like that. This house isn't usually lit up as much as it is right now. This is what I call live stream lighting. It's basically just about everything is on. You even got the windows open in front here because let in a little natural light. I usually leave those closed all the time. I'm kind of a privacy kind of person. I don't know. There's some one of the things I noticed in Waco and maybe kind of Texas as in general is, people, they'll be in their house and they'll have the front window open and everyone can just peer in at night. And I don't know. That kind of creeps me out a little. I like my privacy. I do like natural history museums though, so that I could definitely see myself doing something like that. And who knows, maybe there's something like that in San Antonio too. Wow, only 8 people in here. Holy cow. Oh, all of a sudden it jumped to 13. Wow, that was weird. Hope you didn't damage any of the minerals cutting through the display. I like planetariums too. They're fun. I haven't been in one in a long time. At the tone, the time will be noon o'clock. But I didn't tell you which tone. There's 12 of them. Person with one tone knows what time it is. Person with 12 is never quite sure. There was one at Santa Ana College when I went there too. I never got a chance to go into it though. I used to love going into planetariums. And I would bet you now with all the digital technology available, they ought to be amazing. I saw somebody was projecting the Wizard of Oz onto a planetarium dome. It looked pretty amazing because they showed the tornado scene, and you could literally see stuff flying around you. And I guess they had fans that turned on at the time, so you actually felt the wind. No, not so much. They're on the other end of the house is in there. The bedroom's on the other end of the house. I sometimes hear them a little bit at night, but no, not usually. They don't keep me up. Matt lives on the big island of Hawaii on the Kona side. Because there's Hilo on one side and there's Kona on the other side. He's been really disappointed in his videos lately because all the volcanic eruption that's happening over on the volcanoes is creating what they call fog, and it's making his videos look bad, he thinks. Um, I'm not sure if he's still in the house he was when I was there, but he was actually fairly high up the mountain, but he drives down to the beach all the time. He really loves the beach there, and so the vlogging was just kind of a natural transition for that. And I mean, anyone on any of the Hawaiian Islands lives near the beach. Here's a fun little piece of trivia for you. Did you know that the Big Island of Hawaii is the largest mountain on Earth? People say, "Oh, that's Everest." No, Everest goes like 5,000 feet higher above sea level, but the Big Island of Hawaii goes 2.5 miles to the ocean floor. So so there. Anyone ever asks you what the largest mountain on Earth is? Now you know the answer. No, the moon rocks are a little hard to get a hold of. I've seen moon rocks. They had uh, they had a couple of moon rocks at the Nixon Library because you remember he was the president when a lot of that was happening. Ironically, Hawaii is probably some of the newest land in the world. Matt's son once asked me if there were any dinosaurs in Hawaii. I said, no, probably not. This island wasn't here when the dinosaurs were around. You've all heard of the island they call Midway. It was a big island that was important during World War II because it was kind of midway between the U.S. and Japan. A lot of people don't know this, but Midway Island and a lot of the islands out there are actually Hawaiian islands. And that's true. It was underwater. It started with an eruption on the sea floor, and it built up to these islands, and all of them, come from the same source. Let's see. Google Maps hasn't been working very well for me lately. Let's see if I can get it to work here. Okay, yeah, it is good. Google Maps and their sky view is really cool because it gives you really great topography of the sea floor. And so here, I'm going to show you. We're going to cut away. We're going to do a little bit of education here. All right, let's jump to Google Maps. This is the Hawaiian Islands. This is a big island here that you're looking at here. My friend lives here in Kona on this side of the island. This is where the volcano is right here. You can actually see it right there. And that's the one that's erupting right now. So there's a lot of activity going in that crater. And that's where all the eruptions that you're hearing about but you can really kind of see the topography around it in the ocean here. If we zoom out, I mean, look at all the mountains and stuff that are going on around the islands here. And then, of course, you see we get this. Oops, we got this big long string of islands going way out, kind of northwest from the islands. And these are Hawaiian islands that have eroded away over the millions and millions of years. See, there's Midway right there, and that's just another Hawaiian island. But you can see the remnants of all these Hawaiian islands that millions and millions of years ago eroded away into the ocean. And then it's funny here, they're kind of moving in kind of a northwest direction. All of a sudden it shifted and they started going north, which is really interesting. So yeah, so you can see a big string from the Hawaiian Islands going northwest here and then turning north and kind of going up here around the Aleutian Islands around Alaska. I don't know. I think that's really fascinating. And I don't know if they have it marked here. Is that it? Yeah, that must be it right there. That's a new Hawaiian island that's forming that won't appear out of above the ocean level for probably another million years or so. And they call that they've already named that one. It's called Loihi. You know, I love geology like this. They get some pretty big earthquakes in the Aleutian Islands. So yeah, all those great videos that we see from Matt there. Yeah, that's where they're all shot there, right there in and around Kona. I think at one point he went to one of the other islands. He went to Maui and shot a couple of videos there. But for the most part, what he shoots is on the Big Island. Since the Big Island is new too, most of the most of the area around there it's just raw lava, and so you can see a lot of lava in the picture there. All that black stuff, that's lava because it hasn't been long enough there for it to break down and turn into soil. Whereas a lot of the other islands, the more you move away from the Big Island, the older the islands are, and so at that point they tend to be more green. There are some very green parts of the Big Island, but a lot of it is just lava like that, just fields of lava. I love geodes. Got a couple of nice ones too. I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of run out of room here for a little bit, so I put one of my big ones right here. If you didn't throw them away, Gene, no, they're probably around somewhere. You'll probably stumble upon them at some point. I haven't heard anything about the Bear Arms Brewery in a little while. Probably have to maybe take a run out there and see how they're doing. Last I heard from them, they were still building, and they advertised when they installed the big tanks that they're going to do their brewing in. I guess they brought all new tanks because it's such a big location. I think they're probably going to brew in larger quantities. That'd be cool. Maybe that would encourage them to get it in the grocery store. I wouldn't mind getting beer from my favorite brewery at the grocery store. I can do that with the Brotherwell brewery beer because they actually do have stuff in the grocery store, and I love their Waco Town brew. That's really yummy. I've tried other stuff that they do. I'm not as into it, but the Waco Town is really good. It's a very delicious IPA. It's sort of my go-to right now. I know if I could find something from Bear Arms, I would get that too. Let's see if they've got anything. If they put anything on Facebook recently. See, that's sort of where I follow them, where I get an idea of what's going on. Let's see. Bear Arms Brewery. There we go. Yeah, see, it looks like I don't really see a whole lot of. Yeah, okay. I'll show you this. This is their Facebook page, and this was them kind of showing the new tanks that had arrived. Oh, I guess no, that's them cleaning out the old place, and that's the owner right there, one of the owners. And that was yeah, that's I went by there recently, and yeah, they were already closed. That's the inside. Public service announcement: don't feed your dog beer. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know. See, a lot of this stuff is like really old postings. They have been. I've been seeing like announcement periodically, but I don't know. I'll have to go check them out at some point. Yeah, I'm really happy about how well my collection is coming along. I have a very impressive rock collection right now. I've heard it said there's a Waco Gem and Mineralogical Society here. I probably need to join that at some point. And basically, what I hear is it's basically consists of a bunch of people that are waiting for other members to die so they can get a hold of their rock collection. No, I haven't. No bourbon here. There is a distillery in town that I should maybe check out at some point. That would be fun. I'll have to look it up, figure it out, because that would be fun to go see a distillery. Or better yet, maybe I could buy my own still, make my own. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, like I said, there is, I think, a distillery in town. I don't know. Seems I've heard, or there's something local at least. Maybe it's not in town, but it's close. Let's see what we got. Yeah, there's one right on Waco Drive. Balcones Distillery. That's a drag though. They're only open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So they're open the days I'm at work. Funny how that works. I think Rhonda did say that she had to go back to work when she was here last week. I've never really been that much into the hard drinks. Yeah, I keep some vodka in the house because I like mixing it with grapefruit juice, and that's yummy. But I don't really keep like the hard stuff in the house. Well, she may be on like limited duty or something too. I know for a while there they had like her in the back. I don't know, putting labels on things or something. I don't remember exactly what it was she was doing. She hated it though because she's a very outspoken individual, and she didn't like being alone all the time. I think. Meow, meow. You can come up here, Bite. Sitting at the edge of the couch. There probably won't be long before he joins us. Yeah, I'd have to find something that I would want to go film, and that I'd have a chance of being able to find the look. It's funny. I was watching a movie last night that actually I watched about a week ago, and ended up buying a new copy of it because the old version. Let's see, do I even have it up here? No, I've put it away somewhere already. But it was a weird little movie made by the rock band Talking Heads called True Stories, uh, that was filmed in Texas. And it would be I was thinking last night that would be fun to see if I could go find any of those locations. Although, most of it was in this little downtown area. I think it was shot in and around like Denton and a couple of towns there. I don't know. It might be worth looking at, but it's got to be a movie that I like and have a reasonable chance of finding something. Of course, I did RoboCop and I did Logan's Run and Dazed and Confused. Those are all great movies, and there was great scenes that I could find on all that. I'm not sure how easy it would be to find some of the stuff because so much like if it happened out in fields or something. I suppose I could find the Very building, which is probably there, the downtown where the parade was, but the show at the end when John Goodman sings, that was just in a stage they built out in the middle of a field, so the likelihood of finding that is pretty low. But I don't know. I was thinking that might be to look into that, see if I could find something there. If I find a good movie that I really like that's here in Texas, so like I said, I was surprised that RoboCop was shot here. I was surprised that um, Logan's Run was shot here. So both of those were fun movies. And of course, Dazed and Confused, I knew that was shot here. Actually, the first half of Death Proof was shot here and was shot in Austin. So maybe I could do that too. I love Quentin Tarantino movies, and that's a great one. Yeah, that's sort of why I'd like to go down and visit the Alamo. That's why I'm considering a San Antonio trip for this upcoming maintenance interval at work because I'm going to have a good 6 or 7 days off there. Plus, the fact I really want to go to the Alamo because they've got the one of the stunt bikes from Pee Wee's Big Adventure there. Apparently, they acquired it, so that would be fun to see too. Tarantino, I think he's probably one of the finest directors of our generation. I mean, you got to be into that style of movie. You know what you're getting with a Tarantino movie, but kind of be a lot of graphic violence. Yeah, well, Quentin's a love him or hate him kind of guy. Jordan met him once, I think, at least once. No, more than once, I think. Because at one time it was before he was vlogging. He was one of the little jobs he was doing to support himself for there for a while was he was like delivering like gourmet food to people's houses, and it was something that a lot of like celebrities did. And he delivered food to Quentin's house once, and well, he had apparently Quentin had the, and I'm going to say a naughty word here, the pussy wagon from Pulp Fiction, or not Pulp Fiction, from Kill Bill. He owned that, and it was in the driveway when Jordan went up there and saw that, and that was fun. And then I think Jordan went to like some film festival where Quentin was showing a movie, and he actually sat next to Quentin. And I remember hearing Jordan say at one point that Quentin turned to him I think they were watching The Hateful Eight, and Quentin turned to Jordan at one point and said he really appreciated that Jordan laughed at all the right places. Because see, that's sometimes a lot of Quentin's violence is almost cartoonish violence. It borders on oh my gosh, from oh my gosh to that was hilarious. I mean, how can you look at the one of the final scenes in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the scene where Leonardo DiCaprio torches the one of the Mansons in his swimming pool with a flamethrower. I've got a copy of Jaws. Jaws is a good movie. It was definitely a good first movie for Spielberg. I mean, I guess Spielberg did a couple little things before that, but that was really the movie I think that brought him to brought his attention to the world. Spielberg's done a lot of good movies that I really like. Yeah, Tarantino has revitalized the careers of a lot of actors. I mean, Samuel Jackson wouldn't be what he is today if it wasn't for Tarantino and some of the movies that he was in. I mean, Pulp Fiction. Samuel Jackson was amazing in that. I also liked him in Jackie Brown. He was great in that. And of course, Quentin brought John Travolta back from the dead, basically. Because I mean, what have you seen of John Travolta since like Grease or Saturday Night Fever or something like that? I mean, I think before Tarantino, I'd never seen Samuel L. Jackson in anything except what was that movie? Menace to Society. He was great in that, but he only had a little bit part. I've seen that too, Gene, where you can get in like a little inflatable ring and watch Jaws. I always thought it would be funny to uh, to go around the beach and like put on like scuba gear and swim around underneath people and like grab people. Yeah, yeah, Woody Allen. Yeah, you got to separate the person sometimes. But yeah, he kind of blew up his career, didn't he? He was always kind of a strange guy anyway. I got to admit, I've never seen a whole bunch of Woody Allen movies. Yeah, and I could understand how that might be off-putting to some people, Yvonne. Yeah, marrying your daughter, that's probably a little over the top. Good seeing you again, Gene. Thanks for stopping in. See you next time. Like I said, I haven't really seen a whole lot of Woody Allen movies. He was a little bit for my time, I think. Yeah, that's another one I haven't seen. Maybe Susan, maybe. I mean, I guess I remember when Woody Allen movies were a big thing, but at the time, I it wasn't, and I think at that time period, my movie tastes were kind of set by the kinds of movies that my parents would take me to, and they weren't into Woody Allen. They didn't really get into like comedies and even that kind of stuff. I remember, my dad and mom had to be dragged kicking and screaming to see Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein, and I don't think they really got anything out of it. I don't know. I'm not that much into Mel Brooks movies either. If, given a choice, I'll take Monty Python over Mel Brooks any day. Not sure if I'm going to go see the new Spaceballs movie. That's Mel Brooks. It'd be fun to see. What's his name again? Oh man, what's his name? Yeah, I saw High Anxiety. I got a couple of Mel Brooks movies because I got Spaceballs. I got History of the World Part Three. I think it is. I've got um, the Frankenstein one, and I got Blazing Saddles. Yeah, High Anxiety had all the Hitchcock references, right? I remember that. Rick Moranis, that was who I was thinking of. Rick Moranis is coming back for Spaceballs too. He's going to play Darth Helmet again. Yeah, see, last time I tried putting on. Yeah, see, last time I tried putting on Young Frankenstein recently and ended up turning it off. John Candy's son, I think, is coming back to play Barf. I can't say I've ever seen an Anne Bancroft movie. I have a copy of The Graduate, but I haven't watched it in a long time. Something like that, John. Yeah, I think he is about in his mid 90s. Hey, Darth. There he is. Hey, buddy. You gonna come up and visit? Darth is here. Yes, he is. He's waiting to see you. And you know he's your friend. He's the one that usually suggests treats, but only if you're up here to be seen. That's how it works. Yeah, here he comes. He's gonna do it. He's doing it. He's taking a shot at it. There he comes. Work's been good. Work's been good. Uh, it's been a little slow the last couple of days. I've told you before, we have seven manufacturing lines, and I'm in charge of three of them, and then the other lead is in charge of the other four. And it turns out that my lines have been shut down for the last week and are going to continue to remain shut down until we go into this maintenance interval in a few weeks. So it's really been boring at work lately. Not a lot to do. Yeah. I'm going to go to Yellowstone. It'll happen at some point. You know, it's going to be. I've said this before. It's going to be like me saying I'm going to go visit my mom. You know, I'm going to keep saying it, and then one point I'll do it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go to San Antonio during this shutdown. I want to check out the River Walk. I've heard a lot about that. That's supposedly beautiful. Apparently, they got dolphins that swim in there. They just naturally enter in there, and they love swimming along in the River Walk. So that'll be fun to see. And I want to see the Alamo. And there's a couple of caves down there I want to visit. Pretty much whatever they want. All the mechanics have to stay, and they're there every day because that's what their job is to take that time and overhaul the machines. So they don't get a whole lot of time off, but the rest of us are usually kind of begging for hours. Uh, Fortunately, I don't use a whole lot of vacation time, so I got vacation time built up. So we'll definitely take advantage of that. But yeah, I agree, Lana. Once Upon a Time is one of, if not his best, one of his best. And I could live with the argument it's his best. See, I told you Darth would hook you up. See if we can do it without you choking, huh? No, no new rocks lately. In fact, today would normally be the day that I would be going down there, but they're closed this week. They're on vacation, so he likes his treats. Yeah, there's a time clock. But the point is, I get so much overtime there, it's crazy. And I get a lot of flexibility because, I don't really have a specific time I have to be there. It's just kind of an agreed upon time where we show up. But if if something happens and I don't make it, exactly on time, I don't get like tardies or stuff like that. Okay, that's probably enough because you're fat enough. 15 minutes to the end of the live stream here, and I just finished the first glass of water. Yeah, it's my buddy. How many Tarantino movies? Oh, let's see. I've got Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill 1 and 2. So I don't know if you count that as one or two movies. I have Death Proof. I have Inglorious Bastard. I have Dust Till Dawn. That's not really Quentin Tarantino. He's in it, but that's a Robert Rodriguez movie. I'm not going to count that. Um, I have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Do I have anything else? What am I missing? I don't have a copy of Hateful Eight. Um, what else am I missing? I don't remember which ones I'm missing. So that's at least seven. See, I wasn't really into Inglorious Bastard. I don't know. Some people say it's a good one. I've got a copy of it. It's in my inactive stack. See, I got all my regular DVDs and Blu-rays behind me here, but when I need space there, I take the kind of the movies that I don't watch a lot, and they go into a box in the closet. I've heard him say that he's doing one more movie too. I don't know. It might be one of those people though that just he loves creating, and he may retire and then unretire. Yeah, I'm going to go back and do Silo again this year. I can only do the first couple nights because of my work schedule. Unfortunately, when I was doing it, when I was just an operator at line operator at work, I could get off at 7:30 every night, make the 30-minute drive to Temple, and get there in time. But I can't predict that I'm going to get off. It's very infrequently that I can. Guarantee that I'm going to get out at 7:30. I never can guarantee that I'm going to get out at 7:30, but it's very infrequently that it actually happens. Actually, it did happen yesterday, which was kind of nice. But that's because my three lines are down too. Oh yeah, what kind of ads are you getting? I don't know. I don't weigh bite enough. He just, you know, he's he's just to the point where he is what he is, kind of a big fat lump. Django Unchained, that was another one that I saw that that I wasn't really into. I don't have that one either. Well, that's sort of a Quentin Tarantino trademark because it's going to be over the top violence and language. But I love the dialogue too that he writes. I mean, I'm think back to Pulp Fiction, the beginning when uh, Jules and Vincent are in the car getting ready to go in and pick up that briefcase from the kids, and they're sitting there talking about the difference between McDonald's and in America and McDonald's and in Europe. I think he was in what was it? He was in the Netherlands, I think, and they were talking. Yeah, you know what they call the quarter pounder? Now they get the metric system, and they don't know what a quarter pounder is. They call it the Royal with cheese. I love the dialogue. He's got that's the great thing about it is his dialogues, or the dialogue in the first movie, Reservoir Dogs, when they're at the restaurant at the beginning talking about before they do the job, do the diamond heist, and talking about Madonna and all the significance of all her songs and all that. That's what that's one of the things that I really like about Quentin movies is the dialogue. Yeah, yeah. He started out working in a video store. That's true. Hello, Nanny. That's a new name here. Welcome to the group. Yeah, I like that he acts in his movies too. You're right. It was the Paris McDonald's. You're right. He's a decent actor too. Royale with cheese, exactly. Okay, I don't know, Nanny. If you got something else to contribute, that's fine. But if you're going to keep typing Joe over and again, we'll just block you. We'll just block you. Yeah, they get the metric system exactly. All right, we're done with this. Honey Bunny, yeah, I like her character. I've only ever seen her in one other movie. She was in what was it called? I really liked her in it with I always forget the name of the movie. It's a great movie. The Fisher King, that was it. She was in The Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff Daniels, and I really like Moonraker. Moonraker's a good one. And it's got my favorite. It's got my favorite Bond villain too, Jaws. Yeah, in that movie, Jeff Bridges starts off as like a radio DJ, kind of a Howard Stern type shock jock, um, and he basically just he gets paid to yell at people on the radio. Well, there's one guy calls in who is kind of a loser. He's kind of a repeat caller, and he's fallen in love with this woman who is way above him, and basically. Jeff's character tells him that you know just wipe these people off. They're never going to they're yuppie scum. Don't pay any attention to them. Well, he goes in with a gun and shoots up the place where the date was supposed to happen, and ends up killing a bunch of people. And then a few years later, his career is destroyed because of that. And a few years later, he runs into this homeless guy played by Robin Williams, and it turns out Robin Williams was a college professor, and his life fell apart when some madman went into a restaurant and shot his wife in the head right in front of him. And now Jeff Daniels feels really guilty and wants to try and get him this new woman that he's into. And this new woman is the woman who played Honey Bunny. That was the only other place I've ever seen her. But I also know Quentin wrote that scene specifically for her. Amanda Plummer, yeah, that's her name. And she's two different characters too, because she's Honey Bunny in Pulp Fiction, and she's kind of this little mousy introvert in The Fisher King. I don't think I ever saw Jaws 4 even once. Yeah, I think I've heard that, Gene. I got a copy of the original Jaws. I think I've seen 2 and 3, but never thought them good enough to buy copies of them. I don't know if I even saw 4. Jaws of Revenge. I think they were all Jaws of Revenge. I don't remember 2 and 3 well enough, but at the end of 1, they blew up the shark. So I mean, the likelihood that he came back for revenge, it seems pretty weird. Yeah, I remember the Jaws 3 was in 3D. I remember that. Michael Caine was in a Jaws movie. I didn't know that. Like I said, I saw both of them, and including the one in 3D. I saw it in 3D, Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it lived up to the originals. The original was great. Good story. It was such a phenomenon at the time too. Yeah, that's oftentimes why people come back because they need the money. Yeah, me too, Gene. Oh, I don't doubt that at all, John. Probably YouTube channels out there dedicated to a lot of movies. Well, I guess I probably won't be seeing that, Darth. I don't have Disney Plus, and Disney Plus is probably the last streaming service I'd get. Fortunately, there's not much there that I would really want. That's true. That was shot in and around like Martha's Vineyard, wasn't it? Yeah, right. Well, that's the joke. That was Spielberg joking about that in Back to the Future too. This time is really, really, really personal because it was like Jaws 17 in the movie. I remember Michael J. Fox saying, "Yeah, shark still looks fake." No, they have a power outage at Disney. Oh well. Oh, in Florida, that's possible. I mean, I suppose it's possible in California too, especially with the way the electrical grid is managed in California. That's what the shark was called. Yeah, Bruce. I remember that. Bruce the shark. Doesn't take much to get people to be that now these days, Gene. It's a smart shark, John. I like Michael J. Fox as an actor. It's too bad about his Parkinson's. He looks really old too. Holy cow! You see pictures of him now. He looks like he's 100. See you, Dara. Thanks for stopping in. Good talking to you. I'll probably wrap this up pretty quick here too. Yeah, Michael J. Fox seems to be a pretty decent human being. That's why it's sad when things like that happen to people like that. All right, I think we're kind of winding down on this one, so I'm going to pull the plug on this. We'll start this again next week, and we'll pick it up from there. Thanks, everyone. Had a good time today. See you. Good night.